Okay, welcome to video number 3 of Unit 1, Beginning App and 2D Game Development. Since I've already showed you a couple times how to log on to D2L, I'm just going to assume you know at this point. If you still aren't sure how to do it, check out the first couple seconds of the prior videos. So, we have got our course page here. Please go to the content section. We will be following through the Hello World tutorial. So for this Hello World tutorial, what we're going to want to do is create a new project in Visual Studio. So we'll bring up Visual Studio. Just go to All Programs. Start off Visual Studio C# 2010 Express. So we go to File, New Project. See here it says Windows Game 4.0. Yours might come in selected with Visual C#. If that happens, you can just click on XNA Game Studio 4.0. Call your game Hello World. Notice this will go into the projects directory. And we've got Hello World. So, by the way, what you can do immediately after you do this is you can go to Start Debug and you get that famous blue screen that we saw from before. First, your virus software will have to analyze the executable, of course, and then we get it up and running. So that is that as far as creating the initial project. And now what we're going to do is, remember, our goal here is to just display Hello World in that blue screen. So the next step we're going to take is we're going to go ahead and go to the Hello World content section of the Solution Explorer. So notice Hello World content section is right here. If I right click that, I can go to Add, New Item, then I can click on Sprite Font, and I click on Add. This brings up an XML file. XML is a markup language that basically is used to describe properties of various objects in XNA Game Studio. In this case, it's displaying what the font name is, Sigo UI Mono. It's also showing what the float value is for the font. You could change any of this if you really want to. For now, we're just going to leave it as it is, and I'm going to click off on it. I'm just going to click it gone. So now that we've got our new sprite font, you should see it show up down here, by the way. We know that that's working and good. We're ready to go on to the next step. That next step is going to be to add to the Game1 CS file. What I'm going to add to the Game1 CS file is a sprite font, tut font, or tutorial font, short for. And that's basically going to be a variable that holds what our tutorial font is. I want to find the Game1 class definition area. So first off, I go to game1.cs. This is a namespace Hello World that it's created for us. Under here we see the Game1 public class definition, and I'll explain this in great detail in the next video and how this all works. But for now, this is the public class Game1, and I will create my new sprite font down here. So the syntax here is sprite font, tut font, sprite font, tut font. You know that you're typing in the right thing because it kind of makes it light blue here, and then we've just got the word tut font. So we've created our new font, and now we need to place that somewhere. We actually need to load our sprite font, and to do so we will go to the load content section. So I'm going to go down here, and by the way, if you have this up, you could just copy and paste the code that I've got written there, or you could type it directly, whatever works for you. So I'm going to go down to the load content. These are all various methods. We've got the Game1 method, we've got the initialize method, we've got the load content method. Load content is what we want, so we're just going to say tut font equals content dot load sprite font, and we're going to call it sprite font 1. So this name sprite font 1 has to match up directly with what you see here, sprite, font 1, those two have to match up for this to work. So they do. So we've got tut font there, and we can go on to the next thing we need to add. Now we actually need to draw it because we're creating it, but we're not drawing it yet. So there's a difference in games between creating and actually drawing out to the screen. I can create any number of things I want in a game and actually decide not to draw it out at any given moment. So I've got it created, but in this case I want to draw it out always to the screen. So I go down to the draw method, and this is where our custom drawing code goes. For this, what we're going to actually, the workhorse of this is the drawString function call, in which we will call out to the sprite batch that we should be drawing a string, and it's called drawString, and we want to draw our tut font with the word hello world. You can put whatever you want in there, really. You need to put in a vector. We'll get to vectors soon as well. And you can just type vector 2.0 and whatever color you want. Color.red is good enough. Now, one thing special you got to do with sprite batches is you have to basically say sprite batch begin so that it knows it should start drawing it. So it should be sprite batch.begin, drawString, and then sprite batch.end. That's exactly what it says in the README file here for this third video. Basically, if you copy and paste this, you're good to go. I accidentally put some parentheses in there. It happens. But anyway, this is the code we want. Sprite batch.begin, sprite batch drawString, and then end, and then base.draw. This just calls the base class, and we'll get to classes and inheritance a little bit later. But what we should be able to do now is actually go up to debug and hit start debugging. And yep, we've got our hello world. So it draws hello world on the top of the screen. And at this moment you have made your first quote-unquote game. It's not really a game actually because it doesn't have any interactivity to it obviously, but it is using a game engine. So you've done your first use of a game engine, you can accurately say that. And in our next video I'm going to go through and explain the game loop and all the various things that are inside of Hello World, and we will keep learning more from here. So stay tuned, and we'll see you in part 4 where we explain the game loop. Thank you.